right. Welcome to the Lenox Selectboard meeting, Wednesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. here in Town Hall. This is our 6 p.m. regular meeting, and I have one announcement from the chair. The Affordable Housing Trust is going to be selling 2 homes that will be available for purchase by low-income households. The applications will be available through Construct Incorporated on February 24th. There will be 2 information sessions about the application process, getting pre-qualified by a local bank, and those will be held on February 25th, which is this Friday, and February 28th, which is next Monday. All the information about the Zoom connections for these meetings and the applications are available at Construct Incorporated, or also available on the website at the Affordable Housing Trust's page. We're very excited about this and looking forward to providing 2 homes to new families to have ownership opportunities here in the town of Lenox. Now I would entertain acceptance of minutes from February 9th.
I'll move to approve the minutes of February 9th meeting of the Lenox Select Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great, that passes. Citizens Open Forum. Seeing no one to speak at Citizens Open Forum, we'll move to the consent agenda. Seeing nothing on the consent agenda, we're going to move to general business. The first thing that we have under general business is a change of ownership interest for an all-alcohol restaurant license for Alta Restaurant and Wine Bar at 34 Church Street. I believe we're going to have the clerk read the public hearing notice.
Notice is hereby given that a hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen in their capacity as licensing board on an application for a change of ownership interest in an annual all-alcoholic restaurant license, which has been filed with the local licensing board by Farrell LLC, doing business as Alta Restaurant and Wine Bar. Aurelian Tele manager for premises located at 34 Church Street, Lenox, and consisting of first floor existing restaurant facility of approximately 2,000 square feet, with 2 entrances from Church Street, 1 common from the building, 1 via front porch, with an additional exit not for regular use at the rear of the facility. The space consists of a front porch, 2 dining areas, bar and kitchen. The board will act on said application on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the Selectmen's meeting room, Town Hall Building, Lenox, Mass. Mary Beth Mitz, Chairman.
Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unfortunately, Mr. Gimbert is unavailable to attend the meeting this evening, but this application is in order, and so now I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the application of Farrell LLC for a change of ownership interest dated January 31st, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Excellent. So that application has passed. The change of ownership interest has been concluded, and now we will move on to the FY23 water and sewer rate setting public hearing. I believe the clerk will read the public hearing notice.
The Select Board will hold the annual public hearing for the setting of water and sewer rates for fiscal year 23 on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the Select Board's meeting room, Town Hall, 6 Walker Street, Lenox, Mass. All persons wishing to comment shall be afforded an opportunity to be heard. Mary Beth Mitz, Chair.
I would listen to a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we've got a public hearing for water and sewer rates. Is there anyone who would like to address this?
Madam Chair, staff has a recommendation to put before you this evening.
Superintendent Gopp is here for any board members who have any questions. I'll be as brief as I can and go into whatever detail the board would like, but staff is recommending a 0% change on the water rates for FY23. We feel confident that at its current revenue generating capacity for user charges, combined with a budget request of slightly over 1% reduction in operating costs and debt service, that we'd be safe in keeping water rates flat for FY23. Wastewater, we are slightly less confident in our ability to maintain the needed revenue to fund the budget. We're seeing an uptick of about 4.1% in the combined debt service and operating budget total. So we're going to recommend a 2.5% increase to user charges, noting that we are seeing improvements in our investment income portion of the enterprise fund, which we believe will be sufficient to close the gap between 2.5% and 4.1, 3.8. If you're just looking at the operating budget percentage. So we feel that that's a good number for us to maintain our level of retained earnings, fund our capital needs, as well as the debt service and operating budget obligations. So that's the very quick version. We would be happy to answer any questions that boards would have, and we can get into further detail. Before we do that, I would like to note that this would be the third consecutive year that we've kept water rates flat, and it would be the first time in 2 years that we'd be looking for what I think would be a modest uptick in wastewater rates.
Yep, no question. I just wanted to make a comment that I think that's, it's the right thing to do. People come off of kind of tough times, and they don't need one more thing slammed at them. And so it's a fair increase that's needed. The thing with water and sewer rates, if something falls apart and we need to raise them again later in the year, it can happen, but hopefully that won't happen. So it gives us flexibility in that manner. But no, I think that's that's a fair number right there.
We've done some good work recently replacing water lines, and I think the town's in pretty good shape. Anybody else?
Not really. I think I echo what Ed said. Billy, just so you didn't get out of work to come here without somebody asking you a question, what percentage of our homes in town are actually sewer users, roughly?
About 55%.
What's that?
About 55%.
55?
Yeah.
And all commercial, pretty much, are on sewer.
Yeah, I mean, anyone in any densely populated area is certainly going to be both a water and wastewater user. Water users are about 90% of the town.
And are there any plans for sewering more residential streets, like up or off East Street, places like that at this point?
Well, we've got tons of plans, but the viability, the economic viability of those thoughts and plans all boil down to dollars and cents. So, but yeah, we'd like to not only add more customers if we can, but also provide those residents who might have challenges meeting Title V regulations or issues with wells. We'd like them to have an opportunity, just as residents, to enjoy the public utility benefits of having those amenities adjacent to their frontage. But that of course all costs money. So good news is, there may be some infrastructure money available to do that moving forward.
I didn't know if the state had any plans to help us out.
Yeah. So the MassWorks program certainly comes into play. We've had discussions about East Street to use your example, but other locations as well. So it's constantly on our mind. But, you know, we want to be real deliberate and careful about, you know, our confidence level with the resources that we have to do that before we put it forward for your consideration, for sure. But we're thinking about it all the time.
No, I'm sure you are.
We had discussions about that with engineers over the years, hasn't been in the last couple of years. But it's just crazy, scary numbers that come out of it when you do it.
I remember when we had the discussion about, you know, when Eastover was gonna tie in and we were gonna go down the street. With that, it didn't work out.
It just fell through.
And what capacity are we at our sewer right now? Roughly?
What are we taking in down in Maxdale?
You're talking
Yeah.
about the treatment
Yeah,
plant?
the treatment plant.
About 3/4.
About what, Bill?
3/4. We
Three-
can take in like 1,000,000 and 1.1, 1.2, we're at, we're about 750 to 900 somewhere.
And we still have Crapallo. Is Crapallo on ours right now?
They're water customers.
Water
They're not
customers.
wastewater customers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we certainly have plenty for a build out.
We have room.
We got room, right?
Capacity, as we know from our discussions around the need for a plant upgrade, capacity is not the issue there. It's the content of the effluent that's the
Yeah,
issue.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But the new housing project that's proposed will take a chunk of that for sure, right? That's 60 homes.
That project right now is on the portion of town that pumps to Pittsfield.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So but this is a great time to bring that up. You know, to the extent that that you know Pittsfield has done an upgrade to their plant. They're discussing rate increases. We're certainly cognizant of that because we're one of those ratepayers.
Yes, we are.
So that is something that we also talk about quite a bit.
And the good news is because there is a potential housing project moving forward, if that housing project does receive state and federal tax credits,
Yeah.
that would move to the front of the line of a MassWorks infrastructure grant. So it would really tip our hand in a very positive direction for getting upgrades to that part of Route 7 and 20 and potentially, you know, building out some better infrastructure for those neighbors up in that area.
Just refresh my memory. Can we pump from New Lenox down to Lenoxdale?
Can we do that right now?
Yeah. Do we have the capability of doing that?
No. No. New Lenox directly to Pittsfield.
So there's no line between Lenoxdale and New Lenox?
No.
Okay.
That's a discussion we've had over the years too, Dave.
I know.
Looking at that, and it's,
I remember now. I said refresh my memory. My memory's
Yeah,
not quite as
and,
good. But yeah, I would.
and it came into my mind today as I was reading the Berkshire Eagle about the sewer rates in Pittsfield, and they're really looking at the other towns that they're servicing for water and
Don't they
sewer.
service like Dalton too? And
Yep, yep. There, a lot of water, you know, goes out. We don't take that much water. I mean, it's just in a drought situation. But the sewer, I mean, we have a contract. It's, I don't know how many years that goes by.
It was very favorable at one time. Is it
Yeah.
still pretty favorable?
I mean,
We're not shielded though. It's
yeah, we're not shielded from rate increases.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we get treated like any other user. And it's not inappropriate, but it is appropriate for us to have a discussion as to how we want to move forward with that.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
That definitely is a discussion for some time though. I mean,
We've had it.
we've had it, and
We've had it.
if we said, okay, North Lennox is gonna go to Lennox, how far is that? 3 miles, Billy? Something like that?
Just
Across swamps and ledge and.
Right down the travel
and
tracks,
it's
pretty much.
somehow, but it's a long way. That's what I'm saying.
there's a
Yeah.
That's a lot
We've
of.
got some wetlands to go through.
It's a long way, and then we could explore options and, you know, East Street, and you're picking up neighborhoods, or
the trolley line, and you're dealing with wetlands and
Yep.
access there, so there's a lot to, that would not be a simple and easy conversation.
And keep in mind, I mean, to just give you an idea of order of magnitude, when we laid new collection line on Yokin Ave,
Right,
that was, $600,000-700,000
I remember.
for Yokin Ave. So if you were talking East Street, do the math. It's Mr. Lane is exactly right when he says big scary numbers.
We had the engineering done at one time, we had a figure
Yeah,
to get it to there,
yeah,
but that's old now.
That's a very old figure.
yeah,
It's probably 7 years.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so lots to digest.
On top of a complete upgrade of the treatment plant.
Right.
That's the.
Right.
See, I've gotta congratulate you on another subject, though. The roads in Lenox are absolutely wonderful. Man, I came across by Bosquets and going out to the airport today. I thought I was gonna blow all the tires in my truck. And you can't find a pothole, you have to look for a pothole in Lenox, so congratulations on keeping
Well, thanks, it's
the
the
roads
crew.
good.
I
Yeah.
had a call from my sister saying, oh, there's a pothole you gotta go look at down in Lenoxdale. I'm like, there's never
Really?
a pothole in town. She goes, it's right by the bridge, it's on the bridge. I'm like, oh, I'll go down and take a look. By the time I got the phone call, I drove down there, those guys already had it patched, and it was done before I got there. Yeah. They do a great job.
You have an army like Pittsfield does to get out there and get it, but, yeah, I mean, the roads this winter have been fine with all the ice. I'm sure you went through a lot of salt so far.
Yeah, it's been some tough ice storms. For
Yeah,
sure.
tough ice storms, but, and maybe you'll get to scrape the rust off your plows this weekend. Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah, no, congratulations, those roads are, and I keep getting compliments about that too, everybody takes a sigh of relief when they hit Lenox roads.
Yeah. The
Even
guys
bad
take a lot
ones.
of pride in it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, guys do a good job. Pass that along.
Will do.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now I would entertain a motion to approve the water rate.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve a water rate of $8.22 per 1,000 gallons and a sewer rate of $13.02 per 1,000 gallons.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Billy, you're doing a great job with water, sewer, all the DPW stuff and everything else we ask you to do. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna have a brief discussion now about outdoor dining. So included in the packet that we got for this meeting is a memorandum from the state regulatory boards regarding outdoor dining. With weather beginning to warm up, the board is going to be holding a discussion regarding outdoor dining and the ways in which this is going to probably impact us this summer. So basically, I was thinking that this is not exactly English, this joint memorandum, which comes from the Fire Marshal and the Division of Occupational Licensure, and it talks about permitting of structures and buildings, plumbing requirements, architectural access, electrical wiring, fire prevention, outdoor heaters. I'm just kind of hoping that we can do something to make it as easy as possible for the restaurants to comply. And also, moving forward, be very clear that those restaurants that have outdoor dining access within their current all alcohol license, that will be fine. But a number of restaurants and eateries were able to use the town's sidewalks over the last 2 years during the pandemic, and that is going to be coming to a screeching halt on April 1st. And then there's another date, May 1st. And so I would really like to make sure that we sort of have all of our ducks in a row on this moving forward and are very clear with all the restaurants as to what we're going to accept.
Well, maybe Chris can updates, because I read that and it seemed to be more technical than anything practical. As far as the inspections by both the
Yeah.
fire marshal and the plumbing and all that. And I'd like Billy to give some input in a minute too about, because I'm certainly in favor of allowing restaurants to sell takeout so people can use it on the green strip between the library and all the way down with picnic tables and so forth. So I'm still in favor of that, but I'd like to know how you view that as an additional burden to the community or to the town and your guys, because there's a lot of garbage, and I see your guys out on Sunday morning emptying cans, trash cans and so forth. But I hesitate to say that I wouldn't want to see that, I really wouldn't want to see that end. I think that's a big bonus to the community. So if they, grab a sandwich during concerts in the park or whatever, but I know it's a burden to you guys too. What do you think about that?
Yes, so we definitely added some garbage pickup on the weekends. And we had a few, kinks there, or pickups in the beginning. But for the most part, we had a lot of support from the local restaurants, maintaining their areas. In the parks, some of the weekends we had to go out twice, but I agree, I think that's, we have the manpower. I think it's a benefit to everybody. I think town looked great with all the people around picnicking, eating at the benches. It was fine with us. I think it was well worth it.
Once again, the guys did a good job. I never saw anything overthrowing, during the summer and stuff. It was picked up immediately and kept it in good shape.
Yeah, there was enough, I think there was enough cans. We had to figure out some spots that were getting a lot more than other spots.
Yep.
But with the restaurant help, I can't say enough about, not to pick anybody up, but some of the restaurants were great, and they were going out and way above and beyond helping with the areas and stuff. Well, there was a few that we needed a little more encouragement to help too, but the good outweighed the bad greatly. It really worked out really well. I think it was a great thing to see.
It certainly gave the restaurants a boost during COVID because it with the picnic tables, it opened up more seats for people to come in and grab a takeout. But now with the COVID ending and they're opening up their indoor dining like it was before, I still think it'll be a very popular action.
Just in my opinion, I think a lot of people would prefer that. And on a beautiful spring day,
absolutely.
You couldn't find a seat in those tables just because
That's true.
all the business, the banks, the people working in the retail stores, they would just grab their lunch and head out to a picnic bench. Families would stop in town and do the same. So I thought it worked out really well, and it's a little tougher to mow around, but the crew developed a little system, and to their credit, I didn't hear any complaints, or it worked out well.
So if we continue to have the tables, say, in the greenway, that's not going to be too much of a burden?
No, the greenway's fine.
Okay.
We have to mow around them, but they have a little system where they just go pick up all the tables, tip them up, they mow and put them down, and it's fine.
Do we have enough tables? Did we lose any?
No. We thought we did, but it was down at the beach. So we had them all. I was really, really happy that we didn't lose any.
Great.
And did
Billy, as
we,
far as the garbage part of it goes, we talked a little bit about this. Is there a place where we can put a compactor in the middle of town that would help for people, to, instead of just bags,
The center of town is really tough with any of that. I don't know. And it wouldn't be anything convenient. If it was gonna
Yeah.
really be something that would help, it wouldn't be convenient. Unless we wanted to team up with another dumpster in town already, and it's just kinda hard to police it because who's gonna, that company's not paying for it, but I saw them throwing their garbage in. It would be tough, but
It'd be tough,
it would be possible. But my fear would be no one would use it, because if it was even close to town, if it wasn't really easy for them to walk over and throw it in. They're not gonna take that extra.
Well, we didn't have an answer 2 years ago when we were talking about it, so we probably don't today either, 'cause
Yeah.
things haven't changed.
I mean,
So,
behind the bank,
Fair enough.
you know, so, I just don't think anybody's gonna walk too far to do it.
Okay.
The only thing I would add is, this, the chair's point is well taken. This is not great English, but further complicating it is, the memorandum really deals with, the property boundaries in, and what we are concerned about, and what this is a great prompt for, is a discussion about the property boundaries out, into the town. And, that gets real complicated when it comes to alcohol licenses in particular. And we don't need to name names, because they haven't done anything wrong, but we know who they are, where, under I would say the new rules, under the new old rules, where there were tables and table service on town land, that was particular to a restaurant that has a liquor license, that space not only has to be monitored, it has to be a defined enclosure, and that gets super complicated with limited space. So I don't know that moving forward is going to be realistic. And in order to deal with a lot of the insurance issues, you're looking at something akin to a lease for that portion of space that is being utilized by a particular entity. The park space, those tables and spaces that Mr. Roach is talking about that are essentially up for grabs, and where there isn't restaurant-specific table service being offered, that's much less problematic. We've already dealt with that through our insurance carrier and through our bylaws. No need for enclosure. No one's responsible necessarily for table service attributable to any particular business. That's not true when you're talking about the table service on sidewalks that we've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's different. One can move forward relatively easily given the changes that we've made that were somewhat timeless in nature. The other cannot, at least not without some substantial additional changes, not only involving bylaws but involving lease arrangements as well as the liquor licenses themselves. So I agree with the chair that the path forward is as clear as she's articulated.
I just want to make sure that we can preserve as much of the benefit that we saw with the outdoor dining over the last 2 years, and give people the opportunity through using town's picnic tables, using our greenway, using Lilac Park, to continue to invite people to enjoy bringing a sandwich from Loeb's over and their lunch or whatever, but that the way things have gone, for some restaurants, things are going to change. And I think it's just really important that we work with the chamber to help them as well as possible, and being very clear about how all these regulations are going to play into things moving forward. Because I want to be helpful and I want to be as welcoming to continue what we can continue, but with knowledge that some things are going to end for some jurisdictions.
I would just add a little bit to that, in that, first of all of this discussion is predicated on the fact that the COVID regulations are going to be lifted at some point. So if they're not lifted, if they're reimposed as to what they were 2 years ago, we have to have another meeting. But at this point, the restaurant owners can now reclaim their interior and bring it back to what it was pre-COVID, and hopefully still make a profit and be profitable. And one of our motivating factor was that you had to spread tables out, and they were losing seating, and they were so we were a little bit generous, a lot generous, and for good reason, by allowing them to use the sidewalks and town property, but with COVID slowly going into the rearview mirror, I hope, with the restaurants bringing their tables back to what they were a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, you know, I think that we bent over backwards to help them, and now we have to look at the practical side of things. So I agree.
And I think further reinforcing the point you just made is the April 1st deadline that essentially says we cannot do a lot of those things that involve liquor licenses, which is almost every establishment that we're talking about here, I mean, with possibly one exception. So it's hardly the town pulling back. The state is really pulling back, and I understand why they're doing that, but I don't know that, you know, I think it's a convenient reinforcement of the conditions that we'd like to see anyway.
Right.
Can I just add one thing? I know we started the conversation about the memorandum and complexities of it or whatever, but really, personally, I think when you read it, it's pretty darn fair. You know, I think, not just Lenox, but everywhere, we've dodged a lot of bullets in the last couple of years with outdoor heaters, with extension cords running from here to there, those kind of things. And that's what this is all about, those safety things. It's not going in to bust everybody, it's just safety things. That's what the building and electrical code and plumbing code's about, safety. It's not about anything else.
Right.
So, and this is pretty simple stuff, really, when you really get into it. It's things that should be done, the way they should do their business. So, you know, I actually think that's pretty good.
Well, you've got a fine mind, Ed. I'm glad that you understand. It's a little like gibberish to me, but I just wanted to make sure that we continue to help the businesses understand these, you know, that the regulations are being put back into place. You know, we're happy to see them succeed as well as they did over the last 2 years. It did bring a lot of vibrancy to town, which I would like to see continue, like Billy mentioned. We looked really positive and vibrant through this pandemic, and I would like to see that continue. But we do need to make sure that these safety measures are put in place. So that's really what I wanted to emphasize.
So we'll need to involve the fire chief in some of this, as
Yes.
well as
Every
the zoning inspector.
every single business is going to be affected by this joint memorandum. And there are a handful of folks who will be affected by the conversation we've had here about what happens outside of their footprint. But really, it's buttressed by changes that are happening on April 1st with the state rollback. So those are not unfair, and at least not in my mind. Others may see it differently, but that's how I view it. And then, you know, you've indicated, you know, or you've at least signaled in a general way and in some specific ways, your desire to see, you know, the use of town space continue. And I know from at least one owner that sentiment that you've expressed both now and in the past is very much appreciated. You know, all in all, I think it's fair, it's understandable, and what you all are doing for them is and continues to be appreciated.
Well, I've had some initial conversations with the chamber, and after tonight's meeting, I'll have some additional conversations with it, but they're extremely supportive and appreciative as to what we've done over the last 3 years, so, and as well as their membership, so I'll have further discussions with them before we hit the April 1st back.
Great, well, that was all I wanted to do. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to address?
I'm good.
Okay.
I just want to say, I've heard very similar things. Talking about both to restaurateurs and tourists, that they've enjoyed the ability to happily involve themselves in outdoor dining. But I think the one thing that we all have in the back of our minds is that's all good news, but public safety is the big deal. And anything we can do to augment that or prevent problems with that will be so much the better. And I'm in agreement with everyone. It's good news, and it's bringing us well into the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. I would note that our next regular meeting is going to be Wednesday, March 9th at 6 p.m. And otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.